so much for coming and joining us. It's taken to get everybody here, but at least we can get it done. I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time because I think that you have one of the most amazing fitness transformations and journeys that I have been able to actually see myself and know. You know, you see so many on Instagram and everything, but to actually see you and to see you work and to watch what you do is absolutely amazing. So just start from the beginning, whatever you want to tell us.
Okay, so pretty much I would say I've pretty much been overweight my entire life. Probably about when I was like 19, 20, I was diagnosed with, and I'm almost 30 now. So I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and it was just due to being overweight. Tried dieting. I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't, just basically minimal eating, things like that. Nothing really worked. So I pretty much just gave up, just kind of dealt with being a diabetic, just kind of like ignored it. And when I had my son, that was just something I couldn't ignore. So of course I had to like change my eating habits as I was pregnant, things like that. So then after I had him, I was like, okay, I'm going to lose weight. And I started actually for probably about a month, I took like phentermine, go to the doctor. That helped me kind of like kickstart. And then I ended up losing about 60 pounds within like 5 or 6 months. I was like, I felt good. And then all I did was walk. That's all I did. I just, walked, did like 6 miles a day. And then come fall and going back to work and stuff like that. And then also I kind of let other people started to affect the way I felt. And was like, my child's father was into drugs and I didn't know it, and just all these things were like coming at me, and I ended up gaining all that weight back plus some.
Oh no.
So then fast forward like a couple years later, I was like, I really want to do it this time. And I was like on Instagram and I seen people on there and I was like, God, like if this person can do it, then I can do it, So I just started I'd started a new job, and they really promoted like mindset and like, how much control you have over yourself. So that was like, you know what, like I can do this, like regardless of what somebody else is doing, like I can focus on myself. So Planet Fitness comes about. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do this like on my own time. I'm going to start going to the gym at like 4 or 5 in the morning, even though it's going to be hard. But I'm going to do it because that's like the time I know that I'm not infringing on anybody's time. My kid's asleep. The other person that I'm with, they're asleep too. So like, I'm not feeling guilty for like doing anything. So I started doing that, started doing, just kind of low carb, just, and I knew a lot more at that time because, you have people on Instagram, you have the environment, when you're around, especially in like West Virginia, you just don't have a lot of people that are like fitness motivated. So when you get on there and you meet people in other states and they're doing this stuff, it makes you want to get out of bed and do those things. So that was like my big push was, my mindset, surrounding myself with other people and stop letting someone else's negativity get to me. Mm-hmm. And eventually, within a year, I lost almost 100 pounds. Because I was focusing on myself. I wasn't worrying about if somebody else was in a bad mood. If you're in a bad mood, that's fine. I'm going to the gym anyways. If I eat bad because you're in a bad mood, it's not going to help me get to where I want to be. And eventually that kind of just poured over into my life. I'm no longer with that person. It made me realize that because I was taking care of myself and loved myself, regardless if I was, 260 pounds or 160 pounds, regardless of that, I cared about myself enough to not put myself through that. I realized that it was all in my control.
Right.
All along.
Right.
So, and that's what really made me stick with it. I mean, of course, like I suffer with depression. I have a binge eating disorder. I'm on, I take Zoloft. I mean, there's so that could have made me go all the way back to square one like I did before. But because my mindset had changed, that's what has like kept me in the middle, not going completely back. I mean, yes, I've gained weight, I've lost weight, like we're all normal. Like, sure. You go through these periods where you're not so motivated, then you're super motivated, and that kind of makes up for when you maybe weren't so motivated.
Right.
So You just got to stay with the goal in mind.
Yeah. And I always try to preach that to people, that it is about mindset, and it's about the intrinsic motivation, which I feel like that you got. And that's when you really took off. You can be externally motivated by, by your doctor saying you need to lose weight, by maybe your significant other making you feel like you need to lose weight. But until you say it to yourself, say, Heather, I want to do it for me. I'm going to do it for me, and get your mindset right. That's when you really start taking off. I see it all the time, and you're living proof of that.
Yeah. I mean, like, being diagnosed with diabetes, I was like, I could have all these health complications and stuff like that. But until I wanted it myself, like, you telling me that I need to lose weight is not going to make me lose weight.
Exactly.
At all.
Right.
I have to want it for myself.
Right.
And you have to, like, and I think the biggest thing I remember, like, I still have the pictures, the very first pictures I took. I was like, I'm going to take these pictures and I'm going to send them to myself in an email. That way they're not on my phone and they're not, like, discouraging. And then, in like a month or so, I'll go back and look at them, because I knew, like, these are the pictures right now, but, like, I can come from this. And, the scales don't always show everything.
Right.
So
exactly,
that was, like, a big thing.
Exactly.
I mean, I would get up at like 4:30 in the morning. I'd be like, okay, like, what's going to make me get up? I get on Instagram, like, search some hashtags, like, motivational stuff. And I'd be like, okay, like, all right, let's get out of bed. Let's do this. Like, because, I mean, if you're living in, especially when you're living in such negativity, it's hard.
Right.
And a lot of people are, I just, like, delete Facebook. Like, Facebook is one of the worst things. Like, I can tell you, like, I will get on Facebook for a little bit, and then I will come and I'll be like, God, like, I gotta get back on Instagram. Like, it sucks you in. It's, you got your family on there, and you have to be friends with your family. You can't pick and choose who you want to be on there, like Instagram, where you can just follow, like, exactly who you want to follow. Right. And you can create this world and these people. Like, I have friends all over the place that, we motivate each other, and we've never even met.
It's amazing. I love it. And I feel like it's so much less drama on Instagram. Sure, you can probably find the drama, but it's not, like you said, it's not nearly as bad. And you can create this world of what you're into and what you're interested in. I've met so many people through Instagram as well that it's just unbelievable. And the same with TikTok. It's crazy. Like, Brooke tried to get us to download the app, and I'm like, no. I have met so many people, especially during this time we've had to stay at home. It's just a totally different world. But with Instagram too, though, like you said, you can search up, the hashtags of what you need. Like, maybe you need a cardio workout, so hashtag cardio.
Right.
You'll find crap, but you also find some good stuff.
Right.
And that's where I found you. Is of course, I knew your dad through the gym, and then he had told me that my daughter made this transformation and showed me your picture, and, like, my jaw dropped. I was like, what are you talking about? So that's when I started following you, and just been following you, and you inspire people. And I'm so glad that you put it out there. I think a lot of times, did it take a lot of for you to decide to do that, to put yourself out there and to document it on Instagram?
Actually, like, I have a personal Instagram, and a manager at work came to me and was like, hey, do you care if I follow you? Like, I just wanted to ask you, like, before. And I was just like, no offense, but, like, I've been there, done that. Don't want, any, like, conflict or, like, whatever. Cause, I'll be posting some stuff that maybe somebody may not be cool with or whatever. And so I was just like, well, maybe I should. Like, I'd done it before. Like, there's probably a random one out there somewhere, and I never was consistent with it. And now, like, that's all that I'm on. But, like, sharing, like, my before pictures and stuff like that, like, it was, it's a lot. But, like, also I go through this thing too where I'm like, I feel like if I don't have a good after, then the before wasn't, good enough or something like that. Like, I struggle every single day. I struggle. Like, I'm like, with the body image thing, it's like, it's never going to end. You're constantly, even when I was at 160 pounds, probably my lowest, was probably my worst emotionally, because people would be like, oh, you're so skinny. Like, it's like, God, like, you said I needed to lose weight. Now I'm too skinny. Like, it's just like, you have to do whatever is happy for you. So It was just like, I felt like at that point I was like, I'm not good enough. And I started, like, letting people get to me. And it was like family. Like, it's the people that you're closest with that say things like that and don't realize it, because everybody's grown up with this way of, like, especially older people, they've got the whole dieting thing and stuff like that, like your grandparents, and they feel like they don't know that there's, like, a healthy long-term way to do things. So You just have to like block those people out.
Absolutely.
And that's what's impressive, because I know that's got to be the hardest. That had to be hard for you if you're going to, relationship issues or dealing with some pain there, and then you're trying to change. I mean, it's hard for me to stay on track, and I live with a personal trainer, but I think so it's a little easier for me to, when I let up, she's on my back. But the thing is, what I was going to say is, I think it's key, and we talked about this last night, but we were talking about relationships, about making sure something's holding you accountable, whether it be someone in your life or whether it be putting yourself out there on social media. Because then, instead of rolling over and going back to sleep, you go, I've got to get on here and find something to get me there, because there's people that are watching.
Right.
That's cool. Definitely. That you had the courage to do that, because it's hard to do.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I mean, I'm so glad that you do put it out there, because you're helping people, whether you know it or not, which I know that you know it, but you're helping way more people than you can even imagine, because they're just like you looked at the people on Instagram and said, well, if she can do it, I can do it. They're looking at you. Oh my gosh, look at what she did. I can do this, so it's very encouraging.
Yeah. And it's hard sometimes, because we all want to post like the good. Like I go through periods where I'm like, I'm doing bad, I don't post a lot, and then I'm doing good, and then I post a lot. But like, you need to post those times. Like I've been many a times in my Instagram story, like broke down crying. Like I've had so much happen, and people don't share those things. But like, I mean, I've gone through separation, divorce, I mean, all that stuff. And I mean, you just don't see that stuff all the time. But that was a very hard, I mean, I was with somebody that was addicted to heroin and didn't even know it, so he was like constantly lashing out at me, and like stuff like that. You want to just eat and do whatever you want. You don't want to get out of bed. You're scared to death of like what mood they're going to be in, so you don't even want to wake up. Like it's just, but I knew like I have control of this, so like I have to control this. Like, and it made me happy, and I was just like, and I honestly would be like, you're miserable. Like I'd have to separate myself. I'm like an empath. Like if somebody else is upset, like I get upset. Especially if you care about them, like you're like, they're upset. So like I'm upset. So I don't want to go to the gym, but I just knew like I had to break myself from that. And that's eventually how I got away from that situation, because I knew I deserved better than that. And when you don't take care of yourself, you don't realize those things. You're just like, oh, like this is how it is. And you're not thinking of the positive when you don't take care of yourself. It doesn't mean you have to like, lose a bunch of weight to feel this way. You have to take care of yourself and feel good about yourself and love yourself regardless of what way you're at.
Yeah. And I love too that you are a real person, and you are literally your account. There are a few others, but your account is the one that I feel like is the most real, because I have seen your stories where you are sitting in your car breaking down, and you're raw, and people need to see that. People don't need to see, the perfect Heather all the time, who's getting up at 4 or 5 a.m. and going to the gym and killing her workouts and killing her diet. They need to see the whole picture and see when you are at rock bottom, and you may go backwards a little bit. People need to see that real, so they can know that, yes, you can fall. Yes, you can fall behind, but guess what? You can also pick up, come back. And the comeback story can be greater than anything. And if you don't show those times, then people won't see that and understand that they can actually do it too. So I admire you for doing that, because that takes courage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, and when I decided to lose weight, it was not on a Monday. It was not in the summer when it's nice and pretty. Like it was like, it was going into the fall. And I was just like, like if I can push myself through this, like depressing period of like, winter, because I get the winter blues. I was like, if I can go to the gym, like this is perfect time. I have nothing else to do. So why not use that time to like, and that's where I lost the majority of my weight, was in the winter. And then, when it started getting nicer outside, then I pushed myself. So it's like, it's a process. You go through those seasons where like, the summer you may slack off a little, but you always have it in the back of your mind that, I have a goal. You go on vacation, you live a little, come back, and you would go and I would go on vacation. I'd be like, oh, I can't wait to get back to my kitchen and like eat healthy and stuff. You realize how your body feels. So like,
Now tell me this. I'm sure I can't remember exactly, but what types
I don't want to say diet, because you know me, you know how I feel about bad diets, but what ways of eating, let's just put it that way, have you tried, and what do you feel like worked best for you, Heather? You know what I mean? Because it's different for everybody, but what worked for you?
I would say low carb, and like that's probably how I lost like the majority of my weight to begin with, was doing low carb. Of course, like as you get to know your body better, you realize how your body reacts to certain things.
Right.
And carbs just make me feel bloated and stuff, but also it's like at the same time, it's like if I don't eat carbs, then I can see a difference in like my muscles and stuff like that. So you have to find a balance. So like Planet Fitness, I would be like, okay, like I'm going to do low carb all week. And then we're like, okay, I know Bagel Tuesday is Tuesday. So like, I'm not buying it. I'm just going to get a bagel. And I would literally take the bagel home. I would eat like half of it that day and then half of the next day and give myself that. And I just kind of like ate according to my moods. And then like when I really was like at a plateau of like losing weight is when I just found intermittent fasting, which I really feel like helps with like binge eating. Some people feel like it'd be the opposite. Like I've gone all this time and as soon as I eat, but I feel like as soon as you've gone that time period without eating, like you can have like a little bit of a larger meal if you like to eat larger meals, and it feels like your body just like absorbs it and you're just like, it's nothing. And then you're like satisfied and you have like maybe one other meal. So I kind of just like did it with how I felt, but then still like stayed on track. I would look up different stuff on Instagram. You know, there was a lot, I didn't know any of like the low carb alternatives, and especially me because I am prone to like high blood sugar. Now, when I did lose the weight and everything, like I really wasn't like a pre-diabetic. I mean, my A1C went completely to normal, but I still like to watch the carbs because of that. But I didn't know there was like all those options out there. You don't know until you're on Instagram, like following other people in different states, and there's just like all these options you just didn't know. So the best thing is just, you know, eating how you feel at the time, not overeating, like being mindful of eating. But that's, I mean, really, I just made substitutions.
Yeah.
Just if I wanted eggs and bread, you know, if I was going out to eat and I was like, you know, I want a burger. Well, I want fries too. Well, maybe leave the bun off, get the fries, you know, make adjustments.
Right. And that's kind of what I like to tell people as well. And what I do notice with you is you do a really good job of not over restricting yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably what's made you stay so successful, you know, obviously than killing it in the gym. But I watch what you do with your food, and you don't over restrict yourself. It's not unreasonable what you're doing. You know what I mean? I think that's very important. I think people get on this high, even though you say you went lower carb, you still treated yourself. You still incorporated it in there somewhere. Like you said, even if it's half now, half later, half tomorrow. So I think that's really good. Somebody just asked that question on the TikTok. What was your best eating plan? Tell me about at the beginning, because this is an issue that I don't know if you have, but a lot of people have when they decide they need to lose fat, they decide they need to lose weight, and they know they need to get in the gym. But did you have intimidation of the gym?
Oh, I actually thought about this earlier. So I was like thinking about it, but I was like, oh, I didn't even think about to put that in my like little list I had written out, because it's not something I think about now, I guess. I don't really think I had that. I just, because I was going so early in the morning, and like people were like, I don't want to get out of bed, but the benefits of going in the morning, there's barely anybody in there. So you can do some stupid stuff, like make some mistakes and not have to worry about like a ton of people in there. You go in the evening, you've got like the people that are like, you know, in there with the jugs of water, no offense. And like there are a lot of people out there like showing out in the evenings, I feel like, versus people in the morning. So when you go in the morning, you got maybe like 5 people in the gym. I mean, you can search some stuff on Instagram and kind of test it out. And that's what I did. I mean, I had no knowledge of the gym. Like I said before, when I lost weight, I did straight cardio. And I was like, this time I said to myself, I was like, I want to be able, because I seen on Instagram, I was like, people are like building their bodies the way they want to. And I was like, I have literally no butt. I was like, that's my goal. Like, I'm going to go in and like, you know, lift weights and stuff. And, you know, I would find workouts and like things that worked for me. And I had no clue about anything with the gym. And honestly, in the beginning, I did lift weights, but I did do a lot of cardio. I'd walk on the treadmill. I get really bored easily. I'm ADHD. So I would be like, put my phone and watch TV show for like an hour, just something to get me like, actually I didn't have cable. I'd put either on my phone or I'd watch on the TV there. I would put a show on and I'd be like, okay, like I have to stay on the treadmill so I can finish this, like anything to just keep me focused on, you know, just getting that exercise in.
Right.
So with the gym temptation, like I mean, I went so early and I still go so early night in the evenings. If I go, I am like anxiety just because there's so many people around. Beginning of the year, there's a lot more people get like anxiety just because they're around, not because I care. It's just because there's too many people.
Right.
But I mean, most of the time people aren't looking at you. Now, if you're doing something like really, really stupid, I mean, obviously somebody may be like, okay, what are they doing? But like, for the most part, we're all there for like a purpose, and nobody really is like, you know, oh my God, look at that person. They're overweight. I can't believe they're at the gym. Everybody's just there to get their shit done and leave.
Right.
So,
and if they are doing that, then they're douchebags. That's my opinion.
Right.
You care. I
mean,
right.
Right.
But so tell me from the very first time that you decided to try the fitness thing up into today, how long has it been?
It's been, well, like about 7 years because Jordan's 7. So yeah, I mean.
So this journey has been a while.
I mean, you didn't start at the beginning of the year? This wasn't
right. It was in like a September, in like on like a Wednesday. Like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah. It was.
That's the thing.
It was totally random.
People think they're just gonna, you know, just jump in and they're gonna get the results that you and other people get just by saying, this year I'm gonna start now, and they're upset in 2 months, right? That they're
right.
Well, like I always say, it's a fitness journey for it. We call it a fitness journey for a reason. It's not a trip. I always say that all the time. A journey is a long process, right? You're on a journey. Yeah. You're not taking a trip. A trip is a weekend trip. It's a weekend getaway. It's a week vacation. Right. This is ongoing. And you said it earlier. It's nonstop. It's never going to stop, because the minute Heather stops is the minute that you're going to be in trouble again.
Right.
So I think you realize that, and you recognize that, and you recognize that it's his actual journey. And what I also see you doing is you set goals for yourself all the time. And that's what I always try to push people to do too. You can't ever quit. Once you reach a goal, set another one immediately. Right.
And I see and it doesn't have to be weight loss. It could just be it could be just anything. But that's how I did it first. I was like, okay, I want to lose X amount of weight in this month. And then that would be my goal for the month. And that was, of course, when I was like, you know, a lot heavier. So it was easier to do that. But I still struggle to this day. Like, I have to sometimes go back in my post and be like, okay, like this is what I did, because you kind of lose that because you get used to like your day-to-day doing things.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me now, because you told us about the past relationship that was very struggle with you, but I don't know, you might not want to talk about this. If you don't, that's fine. But I see you in with someone now that seems like you have light goals, and he seems to be doing really well as well.
Yeah, he's great. We started, like, of course, the beginning of the relationship when we weren't like together, we were like going really hard in the gym, and we had like, you know, we both like lost all this weight, and we were, you know, we felt really good and stuff. And then of course, like, you get in a relationship and you like gain your happy weight, and you know, so like I'm in the middle of like recovering from that, and like now that the gyms are closed, I'm like, oh my God, this is awful. So like it's a lot harder to not have that space to go to and whatever. But like that was one of the things I started seeing a therapist, because like I was like, I just don't. It's like before I was so used to being able to like live my own life and only focus on me, and now like I have somebody to actually care about and don't feel like, you know, well, forget them because they don't care about me. So like I have this person I have to like think about. So before it was like I didn't care to go spend like, you know, 2 hours at the gym, and now like I feel like I have to be more mindful. So it's like it's definitely a transition to be in, you know, of course he doesn't care, but I'm just like, yeah, but like, you know, I want to be with you too. We both go to the gym, but like it's definitely a big change, because I've never had anybody in my life that I've like felt so strongly about and want to make sure that like I'm there present. Before I just kind of did my own thing, and like, you know, it was just they did their own thing, I did my own thing, and I could completely focus on myself, even though I did have a child. But still it's it's hard because you want to go eat together and you know, just stuff you do when you're happy, like, you know, and you have to separate yourself. Okay. Like I'm happy, but like, I don't have to eat cause I'm happy. It's a lot of mind work.
And that's the thing, you know, getting losing weight, losing fat, getting fit, getting in shape. It is a physical thing, but you have to train your mind just as much, or if not more, than your body. It's so very true, because your mind will mess you up. It'll hold you back and it will limit you. So that is very true.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay.
And speaking of your child, I mean, what a great example you are for him to be able to watch this from the time he was little up until now, and to see your persistence in it. And that's a good lesson for him to learn, you know?
Yeah. I mean, he does. I mean, oh God, you know, they're kids. He sees it and stuff, and I hope that he picks up on everything, and he's, you know, he does do some stuff or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that was one of my big things when I very first started losing weight. I was like, I don't want to be like so miserable, and you know, I have a child, and you know, all this stuff, and you know, and then life happens, and like I said, my mind wasn't strong enough. That's the one thing I could say, like when people, you know, ask me like, what did you do? And I'd be like, you know, you just have to want it bad enough. That's bottom line. Like you have to want it bad enough. When I don't want it bad enough is when I fail.
True.
So
that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's great advice. You do have to want it bad enough. And I think piggybacking off of that, what you do obviously is you have to go work for it. Cause I think that a lot of times, I don't know, you probably see this too, but a lot of times you'll hear people say, oh, I wish I could do what you did, or I want this, or I want that, but then you don't see them doing anything. You're like, well, you want it, so why the heck are you not going after it? You know?
They don't really want
I was about to ask something.
Maybe you're right.
Like you started this out with the insurance. They think they want it.
Right. I totally agree with that.
Whoops. Okay. I was about to lose you guys, so I had to come inside.
But, that's okay.
Yeah, that's like my main thing. Like you have to want it bad enough. That's definitely it, and not focus on weight loss. Like, yeah, that's great, but you have to focus on yourself, and that comes with it.
Sure. So we're not going to keep you much longer because I know you're very busy, but what is there, if there was one piece of advice you could give someone that's listening on the podcast, that's listening on TikTok, that if they're on the line of, oh my gosh, I really want to do this, but I'm really nervous. I'm scared to go in the gym. I don't know what to do with my eating. And they're just at a loss. Like, cause I feel like maybe you've been there, I've been there. What would be your one thing you would tell them?
I mean, just do it. I mean, you really like figure out your why. That's probably one thing. You figure out why do you want to do this? Like once you know your why, there's actually a quote, and I don't know the author, but it's like, once you know your why, you can endure anyhow. So if you don't know your why and why you want to do things, and with fitness or just anything in life, like once you know that, that's going to take you to where you need to be. So you have to know your goal. You have to know what you want. You have to show up for yourself. You have to, like that quote we've posted many times where, you know, picture your highest self and then start showing up as that person. Like you have to figure out what you want as a person and then start doing the things to get to that point.
Yeah, that's very good advice. And I guarantee you I can say this with almost 100% accuracy. You don't regret any of it, do you? You don't regret the hard work and the sacrifice that you've had to make.
No, absolutely not. It has literally made me, I mean, I'm completely different, not just physically, but emotionally. Like, I mean, I've learned so much in 3 years. You know, that's when I really started this. So, yeah.
Yeah. So it's more than physical. It's more than looking better. It's more than all that. It's feeling better. And like you said, physically and emotionally and mentally. And I'm sure you feel better in your relationships, in your relationship with your son, with your significant other, with your friends. When you feel better about yourself, you just do relationships.
It pours over. Like I get emotional all the time. If I'm not taking care of myself, I get mad at myself because I know it's pouring out in other areas of my life, and I don't like that. Yeah. Like I'm a better person when I take care of me.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we really appreciate you coming on here and talking to us. We don't want to keep you any longer. And I think you're doing amazing. You're such an inspiration even to everybody that comes across your page. Anybody that's discouraged, I always send them to your page because you're a great example. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you guys.
You are welcome. And, if you want to work out, just hit me up. I'll do virtual classes if you need to pick me up. But otherwise, I'll see you back in the gym hopefully soon.
Yes. All right. Bye, guys.
See.
Have a good night.
Bye.